Hi, Niro Thambi Pillay here from Investment Rise, and in today's video I want to talk about the 3 reasons why Sydney property prices won't crash. I mean, if you've been reading the newspapers right now, almost every second day there's some sort of headline from some so-called expert who thinks that property prices in Sydney are going to crash, right? But the fact of the matter is Sydney prices have never crashed, and they're not going to crash right now. But before we talk about the 3 reasons why Sydney prices won't crash, let's first look at history and look at what's happened every time one of these so-called doomsday experts has spoken about prices in Sydney going backwards or crashing. So let's look at history right now. Okay, so here we have a slide showing property prices in Sydney since 1996. Now the first thing to notice is that there's never been a property price crash since 1996 in Sydney, if not even, and there has never been one even before then. So these doomsday experts are talking about something that's never ever happened. But this is not the first time they've made these predictions. In fact, the first time they came out and made these predictions was back in 2004, after our post-Olympic Games surge, and I've highlighted that period here in red. Now you can see here that prices, yeah, they dropped a little bit, but compared to what had just happened in the previous years, it was nothing but a mere price correction. Sure, you didn't want to be entering the market in those years, but if you'd bought a few years earlier, you really didn't matter to you. So then they came out and said, oh, in 2008, now property prices are going to crash. Well, let's look at the data. There's no crash there. Prices just went flat. Then there was a beauty. They came out in 2012 and said, all right, now the prices have risen a bit. They're going to crash for now. And well, we all know what property prices have done in Sydney since 2012, right? And now 2016, these doomsday experts are back again. Seems like every time there's Olympic Games, these guys come out talking about Sydney prices crashing. Well, the fact of the matter remains, they were wrong before and they're wrong again. Okay, so now we've gone through history and we understand that every time a so-called doomsday expert has spoken about prices crashing, they've been wrong. They've been wrong before and they'll be wrong again. But why are they going to be wrong now? What are the 3 factors that are going to really make these guys eat humble pie? Let's have a look at them. Number 1, our interest rates. Right now our interest rates are at record lows and tipped to go further. The only way prices are really going to come rocketing down and crash is if, for instance, if our interest rates were to rise. But even if they were to rise, they've got to rise by so much before people start feeling some serious financial pain. So it's just not going to happen. But the other thing is, the RBA recently came out and said that about 25% of homeowners are not just doing well with their interest payments, they're actually 1 year ahead of their mortgage repayments, which means 25% of homeowners are over a year ahead on their mortgage. So they've got plenty of time, plenty of buffer. So the average Sydney homeowner is not hurting right now, despite all the press. So there's no reason for them to dump their properties. So the second reason why prices in Sydney won't crash is we've got a constant growing population. Where Sydney is still expected to be the most populous state in Australia for decades to come. Our population is constantly growing. Sure, right now, our rate of growth is less than the volume of new apartments and dwellings that are coming online. So there's going to be a short-term oversupply. But that's only going to cause prices to probably go flatline like you saw back in 2004, 2006. It's not going to go backwards, it's not going to crash massively at all. And then that oversupply will be absorbed and we'll keep going back to our normal, regular growth. So when you've got a growing population, why are prices going to fall when there's this constant demand there for prices and for property rather? Reason number 3. Our loan system, our finance system in Australia is far stronger than in America, which is something many of these so-called doomsday experts forget. In the US, you can, for instance, hand your keys in because you can't pay your mortgage in one state, go across to another state and buy a home there. But in Australia, our loans are known as full recourse, which means you can't just dump your property or say, oh, Mr. Lender, I can't afford this, here's your keys, I'm gonna go from Sydney to Darwin, buy a home over there, right? You've got to be able to pay back your loan, or the lender's gonna come after you for costs. So you are ultimately personally liable for your loan. This is why homeowners are dumping their property and running. They're doing everything they can to hold on to their property, and our system is so robust that we're going to stay quite strong with our homes. Plus, why is a homeowner going to sell a home if they don't need to? Unless there's an issue with their job or some sort of financial situation, which currently in Australia is not the case. So Sydney prices are not going to crash. I'm not saying, however, that this is a time to be entering the Sydney property market. In fact, I'd say it isn't. But if you've already got property in Sydney, don't despair. Don't be misled by the headlines. The facts are that you're going to be okay, and I'll chat to you soon. Bye for now.